Of incarceration in America. Currently, we have just under 2 million people that's under uh, correctional conditions in America right now. That's local jails, that's state prisons, that's federal jails and prisons. So when we break it down even more, we got 546,000 people that was in jails in January 2026. Of course, that number's going to fluctuate up and down. That's national. In state prisons, you got 1,098,000. You got in federal prison, you got 201,000 people. My lived experience, I've been in both of them. I earned 562833019. That was my federal number. 0480539. That was my New York State number. I'm intimately familiar with correctional institutions on the state level, the local level, and the federal level, and I'm under the opinion that is manufacturing criminals. These places just warehouse human beings, right? So what this is all about is this is the raw data, but once again, we want to bend this traditional rigid structure towards an arc of restorative. But this is the state of corrections right now. We got the 4th largest prison system in the nation, Georgia does. It operates 54 different institutions. They're plagued with corruption. Y'all see the headlines, y'all see the social media feeds, right? Every other day, we see a prison official, a guard, right? Trying to bring in some contraband, right? We see, even at the top level, we even had a warden get arrested out of one of the prisons, right? Smith State Prison. Unconstitutional conditions, severe overcrowding. When we talk about severe overcrowding, we talk about places like Fulton County Jail. Fulton County Jail was designed in 1989 to hold 1,100 people in single occupancy rooms. I'm pretty sure y'all good people never been to Rice Street, Fulton County Jail, but that's not the state right now. It's routinely triple bunk. You got people sleeping in open areas, right? What's up, bro? I did 16 months in Rice Street. Okay. I wouldn't even never know. You feel me? There you go. Stab mark on that. You feel me? Blessed. How to serve for sure. You feel me? But I seen a lot of shit though. Like a lot of shit. Extortion, robbery, stabbing. So many stabbing, of course, you know what I'm saying? Gang ritual, gang initiation, all type of shit. Just crazy ass shit. We get chased around, wigging out on drugs, all type of shit. Like, that's our state of correction. Then when I went to prison, I did 2 different prisons. But you know, I seen a lot of people overdose on drugs. A lot of people kill themselves. I woke up my first day in prison. I seen an old man hang himself in my life. Literally off the wake up. My first day here. Like that was crazy to me. But it's just like very traumatic experience for a lot of people. And I feel like you don't really get a chance to heal while you're in there going through it. It's just like another day. Even if you get back out here, it's just like now you just be playing this shit. You be like, damn. And my little kid love traumatizing this shit. And then you think like, yeah, I guess so. Because it do affect the way you deal with people. But it also makes you grateful. I'm very appreciative for the opportunity to wake up and go get this stuff. Like, just happy to steal the sun. Gene, like I go outside. I'm big on meditation. I'm big on aligning myself to the earth, my chakras and stuff like that. Very grateful to have my freedom. But it takes that to really appreciate it. Because when I was out doing my thing, you know what I'm saying? Trapping, clubbing, all that type of life. I wasn't really very appreciative of my life as much as I am now. I'm glad you, man, thank you for sharing, brother. Thank you, brother. And that's what this is about, bro. I'm gonna skip a little bit. I'm gonna go back, but post-incarceration syndrome is real. Post-incarceration syndrome is real, right? To this day, brother, if I hear a loud commotion suddenly, right? I be damn ready to go get my knife. Exactly. Real talk. I be having to quell that. I be like, it happens too suddenly, ready to go get the joint. Even with conflict resolution, right? I'm going off script a little bit. Just recently, post-incarceration syndrome is real. I caught myself cold switching from, this professional organizer, who's about his business. I'm on call 24 hours a day, right? To, in the midst of conflict, I resort right back to prison, right? And I start giving these prison rules. In prison, when you say this, you can't say that, you can't. That's post-incarcerated syndrome, right? And it's real. And we have to acknowledge that. And I'm going to give you some services about post-incarceration syndrome and workbook, right? But yeah, man, it's played with corruption, unconstitutional conditions, gang influence. You just spoke to that, the gang influence, right? Traditional criminal justice, what they say, lock them up, throw away the key. So what do you think happens when you have a bunch of people that's in there angry, right? Don't have really tools and resources to deal with their anger management, right? Deal with the conditions that they're dealing with. This is what happens. You got frequent stabbings, you got assaults, violence often misreported, gang influence. That's what happened. That's what's going on inside our correctional facilities. Washington State Prison, something egregious, incarcerated individual lost their life violently in there, right? Yeah. But not that one. I'm talking about the one with the person was unaccountable for 2 days. How does that happen?
That's normal.
How does that happen where a correctional officer's primary job is to make sure that the captives are accounted for? And you don't have a person accounted for. Me, my lived experience, no, I've been told plenty of times, Brown, stand up for count.
That's right. Count time.
Brown, get out that. At least wave your arm, let me see you alive.
That's right.
So it done got that off base where people could go unaccounted for 2 days. Talk to me about it.
So I work back in the prison system.
Okay.
I'm the first person ever that worked back in the system. I'm the first person ever that worked back in the system.
Okay.
Right? I started back working after doing 15 years sentence.
Okay.
So I started back working at the Atlanta Transit Center on Ponce. And I go to all the state. There's a reality, man, that a lot of people don't see. Like, there's a lot of things being spoken I think a lot of people don't see. Like, even when I went to Alto and, like, the initial thing for us to do is survive before we even start functioning like, I want to change my life. I want to do something different. And that's what I was telling young brother earlier, like, we such a survival mode that when you get out, man, it's hard to adjust because you don't learn how to live, right? When I started learning how to live is when I was able to put the survival mode behind it. Now, let me tell you something. I still eat fast.
Me too.
I don't even taste my food. I've been out of prison 18 years, going on 19 years, right?
5 years.
Yeah, I've been out going on 19 years, and even on a date, I eat my food so fast. Like, and I had to catch myself sometimes, like, man, you've been out 18 years, you still haven't adjusted to eating,
And enjoying your food.
And enjoying food because when I
so
came through there was a system of
Tapping on that table.
Oh yeah, yeah. As soon as the first person get up, the last person sit down, you getting up. That's how fast it was, right? So the cultures are different. For these young brothers, why I feel so bad about these young guys now, this culture is so much more violent than when I was there. The gang culture is like something different, something I ain't never seen. The drug epidemic is something different that I've ever seen, right? And so for these young brothers getting out now, like, y'all have to understand, man, what these young brothers struggling now is that there's not enough staff on you, right? I don't know who to blame for that. I don't know if you can pay another person that amount of money to get into a violent environment. You know what I'm saying? So we can point fingers at a lot of things, but I think the reality is, because I actually work in there, so for a lot of people, some stuff out here I don't really agree with, but I still think there has to be some accountability with us in the system, because even when I went in there, right, Apto had trade schools, schools. And a lot of people just didn't want to go, man. We were just so focused on gambling. I got to hustle some suits, some ties. It just takes at a time as you get older, you start maturing. You're like, man, I got to do something different, man. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to share that, man. But like for these young brothers now, PTSD, like, I met some of these brothers coming out of the prison system when I worked at the halfway house, right? What they're dealing with now is so much more different than when I came through, right? They're dealing with true survival now. Like, and I've spoken about that, like, we can point our finger at these young men, but they are really surviving now. You're talking about, it's crazy when you're homeless in prison. I've never seen nothing like that in my life. You got tent city in the prison system. That's unbelievable. And if you're not part of a certain gang, bro, you may not even, bro, you be hoping to get some food. It's that bad down there, man. So I feel for y'all, brother, man, but you out, young brother, man. I just want to salute you, man. You keep pressing. The young brother just got out. I salute y'all, young brother, man. Keep the fight, man, because y'all got to be the next wave of what we're doing. And I've been heard about you for a long time, about the books. I wrote books too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I work in the warehouse still.
I'm
You know what I'm saying? I work in the prison system still. So, hey, man, y'all keep pressing, man.
I'm gonna let this brother speak. I'm coming to you.
All right.
And we're gonna.
So I actually was recently released as well. I got out June 20th from prison. I did 10 years in prison. I did 3 years in Rice Street. Like he was just saying, the prison population is super understaffed. Sometimes the officer might walk by, the lieutenant or sergeant might walk by and give us a thumbs up, like y'all good in there, but you don't know what they got tied up and got ran through. You know what I'm saying? Only thing they gonna do is y'all good in there, everybody gonna, yeah, we good, and you can't say nothing. I can't go up there to the door and be like, oh, back there dead. You know what I'm saying? Now you gotta think 2 days, you smelling buddy. I was actually at Washington State Prison when a lot of stuff was going on. I was at Washington State Prison and and it was so crazy because one of the head bloods, he said he was YSL and all that stuff. So he was one of the head bloods that was down there and he had just robbed one of the crips that was down there. So I asked him, I'm like me and him used to talk all the time because like a lot of people in prison, they used to look up to me. You know what I'm saying? I used to talk to them and they used to be like, big bro, what you think? So I used to tell him, I'm like, we was walking one time around the dorm at Washington. And I asked him, I'm like, why you go over there and rob buddy and take his stuff? He's like, I was bored. I'm like, you bored? I said, you ain't got nothing else to do. He's like, so I asked him for a detail, they ain't give me no detail. So a lot of times, even when you incarcerated, if you a validated gang member, they not gonna give you no detail. You know what I'm saying? If you had a DR within the last year, they not gonna give you a detail. They not gonna let you go to school. They not gonna let you do a lot of these things. So it's already like everything against you already. Now you can get a simple DR. You know what I'm saying? DR for y'all don't know. That's a disciplinary report. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That just means you got in trouble, like you got a citation or a ticket on the street or something like that. So it's like, man, you get those things and it's bad. It's hard. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get in trade school. They like, well, you just had the DR 9 months ago. I'm like, 9 months ago, I ain't did nothing. Somebody was messing with me. Cause I knocked them out, y'all tell me, well, you might go in there and knock the teacher out. I'm like, man, I ain't got no wing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But that's how they treat you, and I just want to share that. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely hard. It's kind of hard when you get out, like just to share something with you. Like I took what they call it, re-entry, motivational change, all them classes like that. I try to do everything them steps that they tell you to do in the process. I actually got a probation violation for knocking somebody out at my job. You know what I'm saying? So now they're like, well, why you ain't call the police? Man, I'm trying to get out of the prison mindset, but you can't call no police. You know what I'm saying? I can't call no police to tell no police. Somebody just mushed me in my face. You know what I'm saying? This man walked up to me and was like, I'm like, hold on, bro, don't do that. Please don't do that. You know what I'm saying? He thinking I'm green. Why I know it, I done knocked him out. Then he put the police on me. I get locked up a whole month later. I'm like, oh man, come on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you post-incarceration syndrome real, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not thinking, oh, somebody put their hands on you, call 911. In prison, you call 911, you dead the next day. You know what I'm saying? And you won't even know that you finna die. Like people, I can hear a story about him finna get done up. If I go pull his coat and let him know that he finna get done up, I'm gonna die. You know what I'm saying? They call that 80 and 60. If I go tell him like, hey, tighten up, you know what I'm saying? He be like, what you mean? I'm like, tighten up, you know what I mean? Like, what you mean tighten up? You heard what I said, I said that up. He might go back and be like, hey man, the executive homeboy told me to tighten up. Oh, he told you to tighten up. Now you know, I done got tightened up and he done got tightened up. You know what I'm saying? Just because I pulled this coat thinking I'm helping him out, but they call that 80 and 60. You know what I'm saying? So
let me jump in.
It's an ugly thing.
Let me jump in. Like what he's talking about is what I like to say that how criminality and criminals are being manufactured in these chaotic prisons.
Yes.
If there's no supervision, if there's no structured programs, especially restorative programs, what do you think is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So
Want to get trapped.
these are the results. These are the results, right? And the homicides and violence is increasing.
It's Georgia, right?
This is Georgia. Okay. So once again, we are espousing restorative justice, and when we juxtapose traditional justice with restorative justice, what it looks like, a crime is a violation in traditional criminal justice. A crime is a violation of the law of the state, right? You did a thing, you stole something, or you offended some law, so you're gonna get this punishment. Restorative is, we look at a crime as a violation of people and community and relationships. That's what we break it down as. The process in traditional justice is the offender in the state. You know, jails, police, prison, probation. That's traditional justice. Restorative justice is a collaboration between the victim, the offender, and the community. We see how traditional justice looks at survivors of crime. We saw that with Pam Bondi. Wouldn't even turn around, that's Attorney General, wouldn't even turn around and look at the survivors of Epstein. Wouldn't even turn around and acknowledge them, wouldn't acknowledge their humanity. What's up, brother? Right? That's typically on a micro level, that's typically how the survivors of crime are treated, right? A thing happened to you, let us handle it. The DA is gonna handle it. And you don't know what's going on. They're rolling the dice, they're making deals. It depends on the level of affluence or affluence that the defendant has. They can get away altogether, right? Look at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Who we have over there, right? 34 convictions. 34 convictions. Yet he can hold the highest office of the land. So obviously, we know that criminal convictions isn't a direct reflection on our aptitude to do a job, right? That's just a man-made barrier to continue to marginalize people such as myself, right? 100 million Americans have felony convictions, have criminal convictions. And in a traditional sense, they want us to walk around with that scarlet letter, big F, right? Walk around as felons, walk around as with our history before our humanity, right? I gotta check a box. Yes, I've been convicted of a felony, right? So they don't even get a chance to see the person. That's not restorative justice. Offender accountability is defined as taking the punishment in traditional justice. Just take the punishment, do the time, do the 20 years, do the 10 years, do the life sentence, right? They was giving out life sentences in the early 90s, for even in the 80s. 1 gram of crack was equivalent to 100 grams of cocaine.
The ratio was 101.
101. Now let's go back to 80. I know that's a lifetime ago for some of y'all, right? 1986. But in 1986, the most likely person to have crack cocaine would be a black person, right? Cocaine back then would be a person from outside of black, right? So that is indicative how laws are made and slanted against us. This is the 13th Amendment, that's right on my hat, right here. 13th Amendment passed in 1865. It says, slavery nor involuntary servitude shall be allowed in the United States of America unless you've been duly convicted of a crime. So the dirty little secret is that slavery never really ended. It never intended for it to end. And the criminal justice system as we see it today is a continuation of that system.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Real quick. So with that, right? Because I had a DR one time for not going to detail. And what I told them was that the judge didn't sentence me to work, the judge sentenced me to do time. So under the 13th Amendment, do that go together? Because I got sentenced to do time. I ain't get sentenced to go work for nobody.
Under the 13th Amendment, you just legalize slavery. It's just legalize slavery. That's why you don't get paid in Georgia, right? You get paid in Georgia.
Nah, you don't get paid.
You don't get paid, right? You be on the side of the road, bush accent, and even they call that chain gang, right? Even that language is reminiscent to right after the 13th Amendment. That goes back to a period in America called Reconstruction.
Y'all don't laugh with me.
You know what I'm saying? So what I'm just saying is that this system it's not about crime and punishment. It's about manufacturing criminals, it's about also keeping a percentage of people marginalized and ostracized, mainly people that look like us. Right? So we espousing restorative justice, we espousing restorative practices to be implemented within the system. So a brother won't be down there talking about he bored, right? When I was in prison, those were pictures right there when I was in prison. I was reading, right? I took advantage of certain opportunities. I took advantage of certain progressive-minded people, right? And it was around those people I was fortunate. Unfortunately, that's not the status quo a lot of times, right? You down there, you stay down the road, violence, extreme violence, right? So what we're talking about, the reason why we have elected officials in this room, not particularly in this room, but in this summit, is because we want to give them our ideas for best practices. So we won't just continually run these chaotic and these deplorable prisons, because guess what? 90% of people that's in these prisons coming back home.
Recidivism rate.
They're coming back home. And the recidivism rate, I've been studying that. Crime is really going down. Crime is really going down from the prison policy. I'm gonna get you 1 second. From the prison policy initiative to the criminal, to the Council of Criminal Justice. Their documented crime is going down, but incarceration rates are still going up.
Yeah. Okay, two things. Recidivism is not going down, and I'm saying that just based on. So I was previously incarcerated. I was at Alto with my man Omar. Okay. I've been home 20 years. Well, I appreciate that. Got a full pardon from the state. The county that I was arrested in was DeKalb County Jail. I have a classroom in DeKalb County Juvenile Courthouse, so I can literally see the A flow from my classroom. I'm a certified anger management specialist throughout the state, so I work with kids in juveniles, in the high schools, alternative schools in Clayton County. I've been doing this work for about 15, 16 years. Do you have health insurance, brother? Okay, if you have health insurance, then you can go see a therapist. I recommend that you go see a therapist. The copay is maybe like $20, $25, but I recommend it, bro. I'm saying this, I've been home 20 years, and I go see my therapist. She told me to go look up in my cabinet and tell me what was in my cabinet. And this is the truth. I don't know why, but I had 12 things of peanut butter. I'm talking about Kroger brand peanut butter, Jiffy peanut butter. So I was just conditioned. Every time I go to the store, I would just pick up a peanut butter just out of survival instinct. Don't laugh at me, bro. Okay. Also, what I'm saying is, so we touched on 1865. 1865, slavery supposedly ended. When slavery supposedly ended, then they came up with something else. They came up with sharecropping. They came up with all these different antics to make it seem as if we were free. So what would take place is that during slavery, you had black people that were working on land that did not belong to us for no profit. And then in sharecropping, the exact same thing was taking place. They just called it something else. Also, what took place as slavery began to supposedly decrease, then you have the sprouting of the prison population. So now you have a substitution. At some point in time, bro, if you go to the room down there, you'll see kids being sentenced to extensive amount of time for jaywalking, for eyeballing white women. The black codes. So these things still take place because we think this is a Georgia issue. So I do YouTube, and so I do a lot of interacting with people who are previously incarcerated, people who are constantly, currently incarcerated. The same thing is going on in Alabama. There's a lack of staff, there's overcrowding, and there's gang infestation. Florida, Louisiana, the Kakalakis, these are, and what's taking place is because it's saying blood versus blood, but all I see is black people killing black people. And so I think it stems from a number of things. When you take our music, and I'm gonna get off because I could talk all day. You take our music, we got the only genre of music where black people artistically kill other black people. This is art. When you turn on your radio right now, V103, Coca-Cola, Home Depot, McDonald's, they advertise, they promote this stuff. So what the scary part is that some of the people who have interest in the music industry, they also have interest in the private prisons. So it's a well-oiled machine. I'm gonna say that, man.
I question. I appreciate you for adding that on to it. I definitely appreciate that. And that was sound advice. We definitely espouse and champion seeking mental health treatment. We have speed therapy events every other month, right? Where we invite members of the community to come and speak with licensed counselors. And no, we do that at Network ATL in East Point, right? So it's just we help. I get what you let you know. It's in East Point, and we also do men's circles. So we are very intimately aware that mental health treatment is real and it's necessary. It's definitely necessary. But getting back to restorative justice, the vision, right, is victim offender dialogue, trauma-informed care, community partnerships, and reintegration focus. I can't stress enough the community partnerships, especially with my lived experience. I'm 5 years post long-term incarceration. I served 17 years in prison. I earned both of these numbers, 562833019 and 0480539. One was in New York State, one was in the Fed, right? And I can attest to the strength of community partnerships, right? that's what really helped keep me grounded, right? You talk to a man that's been in and out of jail his whole life, from Rikers Island down to Rice, right? So what was able to help me stop that vicious cycle of incarceration, not only did I age out of crime, but just being part of community organizations and people that really pour into my humanity, right? As opposed to, you're a convicted felon, right? Or just judging people. So that is a very, very big component of it. And reintegration focus, not just coming to the streets. I was very particular with my words when I was wearing this uniform in prison. I wouldn't say that I'm ready to get back to the streets. Because the streets is what brought me, being back in the streets, being a purveyor of the problems, is what led me to prison. So I said, I can't wait to get back to society. I can't wait to get back to the community. I was speaking these words into existence. And so me being able to serve my community has been a service to myself as well.
We're glad to have you, brother.
Thank you, my brother. What does restorative programs look like, right? We want to start putting not only on the outside, we want to start having these restorative programs and practices and policies on the inside. Once again, we're not going to be able to do away with the system. The system's been here for generations. It's designed to do what it do. But once again, the power's with the people. You heard Black Panthers say that in the 70s, right? The power's with the people. It's with the collective, right? When Fonnie Willis and them elected officials, right? We have one that's running for the elected office right here. I'm gonna let you speak too, Adrian. When they see us holding them accountable, Fonnie Willis said some shit on our stage last year, right? So now she's documented for saying the thing, and she didn't uphold some of that stuff, right? So we here to hold her accountable. The people are here to hold her accountable, right? So it doesn't do us any good to be speaking to a bunch of organizers, right? So we got people who are the stakeholders in the room, along with survivors of crime, along with justice impacted people, right? So that's how we're going to make a difference. That's how we're going to make some change around here for restorative justice. Policy solutions, right? We want to use diversion at the jail level. We got PAD out here. PAD is a diversion organization, right? You got 148 people in Rice Street right now with divertible misdemeanors. Petty crimes. That's just divertible misdemeanors is just a nice word, euphemism for petty crime. They sit in jail because basically they can't afford freedom. That's why they sit in jail. And all of us should be outraged about the conditions that's going on right there in Fulton County Jail, right? And I'm sitting here with people that have loved ones. I have a loved one that's right there in Fulton County Jail right now, right? Under deplorable conditions, unconstitutional conditions. Just because a person is being confined, not found guilty, but just being confined to an institution, the whole city should be outraged when we see those conditions, right? Dr. Martin Luther King, the son of Atlanta, Georgia, said it, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Everywhere, right? So, policy solutions, man, we want to end cash bail, we want to reduce the overcrowding. We have a plan for, we want to talk with Pat LeBeck when he comes in. I don't think he's coming this year, but Fulton County Sheriff officials, we want to speak to them about, we want to start identifying who's in this jail, right? If they're under 24, they qualify for the Ladders program, certain crimes, right? The Ladders program, which is right here at ATC. So this is a partnership. This is how we got to start creating these partnerships and leveraging it. Get the list of these names and put it on her desk. What's up? Let's start going through an individual assessments of these people, right? And an individual assessment, some people when they get there, like, yo, I was just making bad bets. I ain't no bad person. I'm trying to sell a little weed, right? I might have did somebody shoplifted at Lennox, whatever. Let's do some individual assessments and relieve this overcrowding, because once again, criminals are being manufactured. People are being traumatized. And when they come out, they bring that trauma right to our households. They're gonna bring that trauma right to our households, right? The average person's not gonna come out and tell you, hey, I'm justice impacted. He's gonna smile, right? Give you their name, and they're gonna be right in our households, right in our communities. But if they have this unresolved trauma, or don't even have the access to it, right? That's why you are a certified credible messenger. You need brothers like you, because we are out here credible messengers, letting brothers like him know that, hey, we see you, We support you. We love you. We welcome you home. We want you to stay on this side. And here are some tools to stay on this side.
This school is actually a tool as well. In Georgia, if you get a GED, when I came home, I got my GED, so I qualified for the Hope Scholarship. I came to Atlanta Tech. For the life of me, bro, I didn't understand that if you had a full load, they give you money. These people gave me $2,387. I know the amount because that's the most amount of money I had ever obtained without putting a pistol in somebody's face. But I started my business. I started my moonwalk service and I bought me an ice cream truck while going to this school right here. And so right now, I got contracts with the Cab County. I just delivered to Columbia Elementary School last week. I got contracts with Rockdale County, but I learned all that stuff fresh out of chain gang. Mind you, I didn't get to graduate, so I was overdoing it with the outfits. I was just like, this is my high school right here. So, but I learned a lot. I made some decent relationships, bro, but Atlanta Tech was a good place for that foundation. I don't know, mind you, I've been home 20 years, but there was a time, I think because of the lottery, if you had a GED or regular diploma, you qualify for the Hope Scholarship. And I just came here with my information. I saw some other people I had been locked up with, and bro, I got my associates in marketing. My plan was to go to Morehouse because when I was in the cell, I was like, bro, I want to be a Morehouse man. But when I started seeing the money, I was like, you could just give me the Morehouse bag. We'll be okay. But it was a good place, bro. It was a welcoming place, bro. And I learned a lot, bro, for real.
I'm going to go with the brother right next to you, right in front of you.
I want to tell that young brother, man, stay encouraged, brother. I'm going to tell you something. I went to prison at 21 with 22 years, right? I grew up in Florida, Palm Beach County, Florida, right? I went to prison for conspiracy to distribute crack cocaine and infrastructure possession of crack cocaine. I never been to prison. Now I've been home 10 years. I'm a certified recovery peer specialist. I'm a certified life coach. And right now, I'm over the street outreach team for DeKalb County, working at 178 Sand Street with all of the commissioners of DeKalb County. And I help homeless people get housed. Right? So I want you to always stay encouraged and always keep pushing, because how the brothers speak about ratios, about prison be a society within a society. Always know you can overcome all the odds, but it starts with your mind first. See, the one thing that we learn in our community, whether it be in Florida, in Atlanta, you are a product of your environment. So when you develop a certain mindset, you can go in any environment. Always remember that.
That's right. That's right. Adrian, Lifeline unit, man. Speak to us.
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank all of y'all for this. This is beautiful. I'm Adrian Consinari Jr. I am a candidate for Georgia Secretary of State, but I actually started my own nonprofit called Lifeline Initiative Incorporated, which focuses on community development, vocational rehabilitation, and amplifying the voice of people. And that second part, the vocational rehabilitation, is actually the prime example as to why I'm even here. Because I feel as if there's something that has been perpetuating far too much, and that's the cycle of individuals going in and out of jail, continuously going back into this system. And then on the outside of society, making it seem like you don't have a chance to get back into what you're coming from, or a chance at a second chance. And it's insane to see all of these different numbers. Thank you for all of this information, by the way, because it's appalling to even know that something like this is still continuing to go on. And you can put another one up, it's gonna make me, man. But there is a situation that is going on right now in our country where people are not able to reacclimate themselves into what we know normal life can be. And that's something that I want to tackle head on. So with my organization, Lifeline, what we fought for, what we continue to do, is an effort to go and go with those who are just as impacted but have not been able to receive housing. And that is something right now, it's still in its research phase. But I want to go forward and get people who are experiencing homelessness and turn them into homeowners in a matter of 8 months. And that includes giving soft skills training. That includes giving hard skills training as well. So that when people may know of a trade, but they can also know how to network. They can know how to go into different areas. So if you want to go into be HVAC, or if you want to go and be in your own corporate space, you'll have the skills to do so. Making sure that you're given the correct pathway into how you can get your life right. Because if we continue to have this perpetuating system, when you go back home, then you'll never be able to see something happen from the community that you came from. The soil here in Georgia, and this is something I talk about all the time, and I'm not going to take too much time to get this. I just want to be the one to witness and observe. But the soil that we have here in Georgia is some of the most fertile soil in the entire country. And I'm not talking about just to actually grow for agriculture, but I'm talking about what people have become, what all of us can become. And if we don't invest into the soil itself, then we'll never be able to reap the benefits of what this state can truly produce. So for every single person that is here, thank you. Thank you for your vulnerabilities. There is so much strength in being able to pry yourself open that people don't talk about it. And there is so much relief that comes from being able to get it off your chest. Thank you for your story of survival, how you've been able to get to this point. And I'm definitely gonna have to see about that ice cream truck because I ain't seen one in my neighborhood for too long.
You live in a good neighborhood.
But all in all, I'm just really happy to be here. Thank you, AB. Thank you for this information. Let's keep going.
Thank you so much for sharing, Adrian. I stopped calling this word reentry because reentry, I learned that that's a word that's a criminal justice word, right? They created that. They created this system. You know, when I got a reentry pack coming out of prison, it was like 30 papers stapled together, and 95% of the numbers was inaccurate. Wasn't even working, right? Came out, went to a halfway house. The halfway house was just like a prison, very strict. As a matter of fact, I was up there last week passing out flights for this event. They kicked me out of there. Get out of here, Brown. You know what I'm saying? So, I had a hell of a time re-entering society. You know, I didn't have any family support. So, I don't call this re-entry, I call it recidivism reduction because what I've been doing, I've learned that being in the community, service in the community, participating in programs, being vulnerable, being real, it helps. It humanizes me, right? I can take off that mask that I'm just super hard, uncaring, right? Nah, I do care. I do hurt. I am vulnerable. I've been homeless. I didn't like being homeless, right? I don't like the state of my relationships with my daughter, right? So I openly speak about this because I'm fully embracing my humanity, right? That's why we reject terms like felons and convicts and stuff like that, right? Because that dehumanizes me, that minimizes me. I was on the radio yesterday with JoJo at 96.7, and she was like, I remember you, I gave you my bag at the Capitol, right? They was having International Women's Day at the Capitol. We was having black boys and black men and boys there at the Capitol, and she had all these bags. I said, give me that bag, lady. You got all these bags. She's like, okay, thank you. Gave me her bags, right? Put them in, I secured the bags the whole day. She remembered that. She said, I remember you. Right, yeah. So, but later on in the interview, she was like, so who do you want to come to your summit? Felons and, felon, don't F-bomb me. No, I didn't say, you said felon, I'm not a felon. I'm justice impacted. I'm system impacted. That's not just a feel-good word. That's not just a euphemism. That's restorative language. That's language justice. I'm turning that into an educational moment. I'm standing up for myself and my humanity. I'm not checking anybody. I'm just letting them know, like, hold up. That's not who I am, right? So, and she said, you know, I said, would you have gave your bag to a felon, right? The boogeyman? She thought about it. So in that moment, she was able to be educated, right? That's restored. That small act is restored. We're restoring. I was able to restore my humanity in that setting, right? Not disrespect. I didn't have to raise my voice. I didn't beat my chest. That's restorative. Evidence-based programs, resources, support, accountability. I like to say this is not, restorative justice is not a hug a thug campaign, right? This is not, you know, absolving us from bad conduct, from offending society, right? Because everybody is not familiar with the side of jail that I was on. Some people were victims of crime, right? Some people had their stuff stolen. Some people have had their physical beings infringed upon, right? So some people look at this like, hold on, lock their ass up, throw away the key, serves them right, right? And some people they be justified in feeling like that. But but that's not restorative. We have to caution ourselves to remember that's not restorative. Ultimately, we all gonna be judged. Ultimately, we all gonna be judged. Me checking the box that I've been convicted, or me being a felon, is not gonna make the public safer, right? It's not gonna stop this cycle of reincarceration. Not gonna stop this cycle of these bad messages that's being perpetuated, right? Service to the community, that's restorative, right? BMI does a lot of different community events. I love to be able to invite people to come out, especially formerly incarcerated people, right? I get to go inside schools by way of my position with Black Male Initiative. Now, myself, Anthony J. Brown, I probably won't be allowed to go to the school, right? Even though I have no sex offenses, no crimes against children, but just because I'm a convicted felon, right? In their eyes, I won't be able to access the school by way of my position with Black Male Initiative, an organization, a community organization. I was allowed to go into the school the other week, and I had a beautiful. I didn't want to be there. I'm telling you, my mind's eye. I was helping. As a matter of fact, they was in the last room. I was helping 2 justice impacted people. They having a hell of a time getting a job. The brother having a hard time getting a job because of his background. The sister was having a hard time getting a job, right? So I'm in the office helping them. So I get the card, AB, you need to be at the school. So I'm in my body a little bit. I'm like, man, you know, I'm doing this work right here. Why can't they understand? All them people can go over there, right? But I fell in line. I exercised some humility, what I learned in prison. I learned humility in prison. Luckily, I didn't have to learn it the hard way, but I learned a man can be humble. A good man can be teachable. A man can be coachable, right? So I said, you know what? I felt like I needed to be here, but the team and leadership said I needed to be there. So guess what? I took my ass over there. I didn't, at first it took me a minute, I'm like, man, you know what? It looked like a bunch of, it's recess, right? It's more than enough Black men in here. We have Black Men Lab, Black Male Initiative has Black women in the organization too. So we got the sisters there, we got the men there. What am I doing here? I see one little boy. He's sitting on the wall. All the other little boys are playing basketball, they're running, they're throwing the football, but it's one. And he's sitting right there. So I go and I sit next to him. I used to do his name is Andrew. And he's not running around because Andrew is disabled. Andrew has something wrong with his ankle, so he doesn't run around and stuff like that. So I sat next to him and we had an hour conversation about history, right? Especially when I found out, I don't know how Frederick Douglass came up with it. He didn't know who Frederick Douglass was. Oh my God, that's one of my favorite people out of history. So I'm regaling about Frederick Douglass, how he beat up a slave master and went to Europe and came back and rose all the way up to prominence where he's counseling Abraham Lincoln. And so I asked him, you know who Abraham Lincoln is? Yeah, he knows. He knows Abraham Lincoln, right? But he doesn't know, never heard of Frederick Douglass, right? So in that moment, a lot of things happened to me. I said, you know what? Thank God for being humble and coachable. I could have made, hey, John or PK, I'm going to stay here and help these 2 justice impacted people. They would have, okay, AB, great job, AB. That would have been me moving on my own understanding, my own, no humility, but I was able to touch this kid, connect with this kid. I got some books. As a matter of fact, this Frederick Douglass book, I'm taking that to him. Yep, taking that Frederick Douglass book to him when I see him Wednesday. But that's restored, right? We're not going to be able to take back whatever we did to land ourselves in prison. We ain't going to be able to take that shit back. It happened, right? But moving forward, how can I move, right? Where I can say 1 year, I got 20 years behind me, and I do this, and I help this many people. Bravo to you, my brother. Salute to you, brother. For the work that you're doing.
Appreciate it, bro.
Second chance employees who post-incarceration syndrome, like I said, PICS is real. It's closely related to post-traumatic syndrome. It's real, man. It could be something as simple as, like I shared with the other group, when I hear commotion, like sometimes I'll be ready to grab my knife. I'm ready to go get the knife. I'm like reflexing, right? Because I go back to that fight or flight, right? It's not gonna be me. I gotta get home. It's not gonna be me. You know, so that's real. You had one person said every time he smells fabuloso, transported right back to prison. It can be a thing. Another brother shared that he still eats fast. I still eat fast. I know that comes from prison, right? One, the food is terrible, so you just gotta. I'm just eating just to get rid of it. And two, when I used to go to the mess hall, and especially the feds was just so cliquish, right? So they call them cars. So I'm grouped up with a bunch of men, right, in a car. We're essentially a game. So I would like to come to the chow hall, eat my food, get the hell on, so I don't have to hear none of the politics. I don't have to hear none of the move. Hey, we about to go make a move. We about to go do this. No, they be in and out. But I'm still eating like that, right? That's pigs. So post-incarceration syndrome is real. The conditioning of the cage is real. So once we leave the cage, we have to work to leave those behaviors, those reflexive tendencies. We got to leave that in the cage as well, right? That's it. Reform is one of our partners. Reform Alliance, they do great work. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I got them up there. Anybody like to share anything?
I have a
We'll
question.
go with 1, 2, 3.
So my name is Coach Leon. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I came down here for this event. So two things that I do. I'm a chess instructor, so I teach kids as well as adults. So a lot of the things that he was talking about as far as accountability, that's one thing that you learn in the game of chess. Is once you take your hand off of that piece and you make that move, that's your move. There is no going back. So a lot of our kids, and as well as our adults, don't understand that. We don't think before we move. Chess teaches you that, but it's one of the safest spaces that you can actually learn that situation without the risk of handcuffs, jail, or even death. You know, so a lot of the times, most of the time, we just don't think. And so chess teaches you that. It teaches you how to actually think before you move. Most people think you gotta be smart to play chess, but chess makes you smart. It's one of the only board games where you use both sides of your brain. All right, it develops your prefrontal cortex, which is your decision-making center. Another thing that I do is that I teach children through the game of chess how it goes with police encounters. So one thing that I did that I like to present to reentry or restorative practices is I created something called the lawyer card. So when you have encounters with police, it actually has your rights on the actual card. Most of us don't know what our rights are. Most of us have children that don't know what our rights are. So if we don't know, who's teaching the babies? And if somebody's not teaching the babies, we're depending on somebody we don't know or trust to actually teach our children how to conduct themselves during a traffic stop. And guess what? They all don't have that experience. Or we're on their tails about chores and different things like that. But this is something that can take their life. And it's the last thing that we think about. And that even goes for young men and young women who are coming home from prison. We can put them in all the training, give them all the jobs that can be there, but one police encounter can change all of that if you don't know how to conduct yourself. So, if nothing else, I ask, especially if y'all got children, anybody who ain't got these type of programs, please try to incorporate that. Your rights as well as even chess. Chess is a very mental game that you can do, especially if you come home from prison and you got children. Most people learn how to play the game of chess in prison. You know what I'm saying? But chess is a neutral ground. It allows you to actually have a conversation with the other person on the other side without that pressure. So just think about that. I appreciate y'all time.
Hey, Kings and Queens, how y'all doing?
All
Good. My name is Kendra Myers. I'm an organizer training for Black Male Initiative. I'm also a part of the mental health committee. I want to kind of share my Just Impact situation. It's a lot different than most people. But it was 2 times that I was faced to do a lot of time, but I didn't. The first time I went down to Panama City Beach, I got caught with some marijuana, spent about 11, 12 hours in jail. Second time, I had a legal firearm in my trunk that wasn't mine. And the guy just like, we gonna go down there, just do the fingerprints, you will be good. It was a white guy, I was so nervous. But he let me go. And I could have did some time for that. So those things touched me so deep because I was covered and safe, but it don't matter how much time you spend right there in them situations, your life can be changed. So I'm here to be just a living representation of you ain't gotta go that route. pay attention to your intuition, pay attention to what is around you in the in the coverage. Because now I'm a certified purpose coach, empowerment speaker. I've been mentored by Les Brown, Eric Thomas, and now I'm here to make a change and make a difference and live in my story. So I just want to share with y'all.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate you.
And question I was having was kind of just more to some of the brothers who survived extended periods of time, being incarcerated. Just about that middle ground between when we talk about rehabilitation and what I call habilitation, right? Mm-hmm. So that middle ground of teaching people in survival mode, actually living at the same time, right? As far as right now in survival mode, but long term, 30 years from now, when you got to worry about today, right? So I guess the thing about it is, a lot of times as parents, you teach kids based on what you know, and we pass down that trauma of how to survive, and the trauma that we've survived in, which sometimes can make that, I guess, let it go to another generation. So I just wanted to kind of hear from your perspective, I think you talked about like saying you still have the peanut butter, that you still have that trauma, but sometimes we pass that along vicariously, which means other people may not have been through it, but we teach them the rules of survival in the streets. We teach them the rules of survival in jail, rather than teaching them the rules of survival in, say, corporate America. Teach them the rules of how to advance yourself in school, or teach them the rules of what you need to do to get to college. So that's why I'm saying habilitation teaches somebody how to live, rather than rehabilitation teaching and trying to fix something that's broken about what we need to do before that person is broken.
Montana, you wanna answer that? That's your wheelhouse.
Hello, everybody. My name is Montana. I just moved here about a year ago. So I'm from Minneapolis, Indiana. My story won't be long. I'm gonna do it short. I was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison with a hit with RICO. The state of Indiana dropped the ball, and I was set up, so I got 10 years. I got 20 years back. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here right now. My whole mission when I got out in Indiana, right now I have 5 youth programs and a program inside Indiana State Prison right now. My whole mission is to help young men change the narratives in their situations. My whole movement is evolving outdoor environment. That's just what I do. So I come down here and I make AB. I'm doing the same thing. I'm in DeKalb County Jail on the mental health side. Help those dealing with mental health issues come back home, help with housing, things like that. So the whole thing. But my thing is that I make sure that they get the right resources. Everybody got resources, right? I remember when I got out, there was no resources. They say they got this for you, it's not there. My whole mission has always been to make sure when those are getting out, they get successful resources and not be left behind because they don't have no resources. What they gonna do? Right on that. If I'm able to open the doors for them and connect, like you said earlier, community partnerships is key to everything. That is key. So what was that question you asked for? No, I answered.
No, just about, not passing on that trauma as an adult to your children.
And that's where I get the evolving out the environment. That's a key part to it. So the things like with me, when I was incarcerated, I'm addicted to, when I hear loud noises, I'm like, AB. I feel like I gotta grab my pistol, but I just get stuck like that. Before me get out that environment, I had to go to a different environment to evolve out, to be around like-minded people who are dealing with those traumas, things like that and stuff. So with my kids, I have 2 boys. They don't know nothing about the things I went through, so I try to put things around them that will help them evolve into the man that they are. So things is what I say, you gotta put your kids in those situations away from things that's gonna tear them down. And you gotta stand on that. Because if I'm gonna say, I'm doing this, and this is the way to go, they have to go this way. I can't backslide. It's like a pastor. Live by God, this is the movement, but behind closed doors, I'm still getting high, this and that. And kids see that. Your kids are smarter than you. You think you're smarter than your kids, they're smarter than you. They watch everything, they're not dumb, and I still watch everything.
I think.
My kids see me on the news. They understand what's going on. They didn't know why I was on the news, things like that, for being locked up. I explain that to them. But the thing is, if I say that mindset while I'm still stuck in that environment, then let's go get that same tools that I was going through as well. I had to move from where I was at to show them a different environment. put them around a lot of many things. It's our responsibility as parents, mothers, and fathers to put your kids in the right environments. Only way they can catch on the things is because you let them catch on the things. Right now, social media is leading our kids, they follow. Those are our teachers right now. Cut that. We have to be the one. It's our responsibility as men. And I always say, I feel like the men, not just in my hometown, but the United States, are failing our people right now in leadership because we need to come together more instead of trying to kill each other. That's the problem right now. Everybody got egos, everybody gonna be tough toned. Nah. Because if I walk past you and you supposed to be my brother, I'm seeing you store, by me walking past, I failed my brother. We have to be the ones that come together and not come apart. We have to be the ones that help evolve out those environments.
Agree. I think the fact that you actually asked that question, bro, it promotes thought. And some people won't get to answer the question, but the way he elaborates, somebody else elaborate, it caused me to think about, I have daughters. So I thought about, why do we whoop our children? Because I look like my daddy. And I want to say, when my mama whooped me, and that I didn't look so much like my dad, like the water bill do, the light bill do, how are you able to separate your anger? So as an anger management specialist, what it helps me, I don't whoop my children. I don't whoop, because I done stabbed a grown man before. I don't know how to separate that. But what I do understand is how the mind works. So then you have those elements of emotional intelligence. I just focus in on what the motivation is and how to teach them to be self-aware or whatnot. But it's an ongoing process, bro. It don't stop here. It don't stop because you just came home. It don't stop because I've been home 20 years. But it takes a question like that, because you was in the other room, you asked another question. It takes a person like you answering those questions to develop their thought process to come up with solutions, bro.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna answer that, but what I want to just give y'all guys that's been incarcerated for the brother already. He's dealing with some guys dealing with success, but I was locked up for manslaughter, drinking alcohol, and I received a full pardon in 2018. What I'm saying, there's hope in changing, man. You know, it's just I had to make some adjustments in my life, and what I expected myself, what I expected was being a servant in the community and doing some other things. You know what I'm saying? Not that it changed that, because I still couldn't get a job with Uber. That's how crazy it is. I got a part, right? Still didn't stop me from not being I couldn't get a place to live, right? I just wasn't willing to give up. You know what I'm saying? Because I always remember about where I came from and what I've been through since I've been out, right? So just to let y'all know, man, every chance y'all get to apply for a part, apply for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had 13 charges, bro, so I know for a fact it can happen, right? Just to answer your question, I think it's an unfortunate part that we don't talk about is the majority of us that went to prison, we was traumatized before we had went to prison.
Facts.
Prison just added on to what we was already going, right? And so a lot of us still, because you was in the street, you was traumatized, even though you was doing the work, whatever you was doing, I was doing, man, that was traumatized, right? I grew up without a father, that was trauma, right? I can't say whooping was traumatizing, disciplining, I mean, it can be a form of trauma, right? I grew up poor. That was a form of trauma, right?
Poverty.
My people around was traumatized with the prison. So I don't want to blame everything on prison. So I did go to prison already traumatized. It took me a long time to understand it, like, okay, you were traumatized before you ever went there. Prison just added on to it. And so I had to start dealing with the person inside. Right? I like what Meek said on the video the other day. He said, I came to a realization and I came with peace with myself. That's how I was able to do my time. That's how I ended up doing my time. That's how I came out here. And he know me, I'm talking all the time. I'm all about accountability now, man. Like, I had to be accountable for the choices I made, and it allowed me to move forward in my life, you know what I'm saying? Especially when I had to deal with the victim of the murder. And especially when I deal with the victim that we robbed. All this stuff just came
recently
over years, man. And I had to accept the fact, even though I wasn't even the person who did the murder, but I wasn't one at the time for it. I still embrace my part of being there, right?
Accountability.
And so it's all part of accountability, man. But one thing I'm gonna tell anybody that's been incarcerated: surround yourself with good people. That's right. I don't care what the homies say. I don't care what the family say. I don't care what nobody. I gotta be around people that I'm trying to emulate. Right? I was around the homies because I want to emulate their nonsense. Now I need to be around people that's successful, people that, even though you gotta talk prison, we ain't gotta always talk about prison. We're talking about going to school, going to college. These are how I address things now. Like, man, they know, man. He know how he been knowing for years. I'm not necessarily talking about no prison. I'm actually almost tired of talking about it, right? Because that's all we seem to keep. And people have embraced it like it's okay. No, it's not okay. I hate how you live that life. You know what I'm saying? So, right. So I'm not wearing a badge to that. You know what I'm saying? So y'all brothers surround yourself, man, with great people, man. You know, yeah, we can talk about prison, but it's way bigger than what we did in our past. We're talking about making sure you don't go to prison, making sure you don't die, make sure you don't go through these situations. And to the brother, God, we hope we get a brother like you up there, man. You see some of the answers right here. The problem is we get left out of the conversation, right? Because we don't have the titles or we don't have the degrees that maybe they want, or because we do have a background. But some of the answers are right here.
Fact.
That's why he was able to get into that position. I came in as a corrective measure. I worked for the U.S. Attorney's Office doing speaking gigs. I got a grant speaking all over the United States with the federal government. Never thought I'd be working around the federal government. But because I changed my life, it gave me an opportunity to work over. So they found the answer. So start utilizing this. You know what I'm saying? We can make the difference. Brother just showing you what he's doing. We can make the difference.
We're making a difference.
Facts.
We're absolutely making a difference. If you look at statistics in Atlanta, like I understand what the news is going to show you. I understand what happened last weekend. A 14-year-old lost a life. A 3-year-old lost a life. That's sad. That type of conduct should be deplored. Right? We should talk against it all day. But what's also happening is reentry work is going on. The work that BMI does, not saying we're trying to congratulate ourselves, but we do speak therapy work. We knocked 1.8 million doors last year, and we knocked on the doors talking about the election, right? A lot of people told me, I had numerous men tell me, oh, I can't vote, I'm a felon.
Not
I'm
true.
a felon, I can't vote. One man, I never forget, I said, bro, are you on probation or parole? Nah, my last conviction was an 86. Oh man. But he's still carrying that narrative, right? 40 years later, and he can't vote. So we're doing it now. Meeting people where they at. We're gonna go where they at, right? Reshaping the narrative about what it is to be formerly incarcerated. No, we don't want. I don't walk around like this is a badge of honor. But when I talk about being just as impactful as the systems that